So today I have set up my gaming table because I'm going to do some solo adventuring and game testing. I think it's a bit funnier to do it this way rather than just do hard testing. I mean, it's probably not so efficient, but you can have some fun along the way. And having a narrative and different situations creates situations with questions, and then you want to answer them by applying rules, depending on the situation. And as I told you in an earlier episode, in this universe, the world was flooded by magical blood, or rather, magical is probably not the right term. It is something that is more like a virus that mutated every being on Earth. Not every being, there are still humans alive, but they obviously need water. And in my current campaign, one of the Stronger Soldiers of Humanity teams up with a group of villagers because he was separated from his squad, and now he helps them to find water. But in order to do so, or rather, in order to secure a healthy amount of water, they need to find certain purifiers or generators. These are the things that I built here. And they have yet to secure one of them to ensure that they keep working and give the village a good water supply. Well, and currently the warband looks like this. This is the main character, but there's also a twist about him. And that's not only because he is modeled after Twist, the main protagonist of my Fire Emblem ROM hack. And as you can see, the hiker is here too. We have just recruited him. And obviously our main antagonists are the ghouls of Draymore once more. I was inspired to do this by a channel whose name I sadly forgot, but I will display it on right now. And he talked about how he prefers solo wargaming. I found this channel when looking up how to play solo, and he basically did an entire beautiful video about the benefits of this way of playing. And his entire channel actually revolves around telling a story in a fictional universe, and he filled it with lore and battles that are actually the sessions that he did during his solo play. And I think that was really cool. Just go check it out. It's really a unique experience that I have yet to find another one on YouTube. And basically, he's also using his own rules, and that is what inspired me to do it the same way. Basically making game development itself a game of some sorts. Now, many people use a map when during wargaming campaigns or skirmish campaigns. This here's a skirmish game. And I have come up with something after looking up RPG solo rules. So what I have here is a map. This here was the starting point for my starting group. I want to do something similar with the antagonists, but today I just wanted to play, so for now they will remain standard. But this gives me the ability to control a little bit of stuff. So basically we started here, and the first battle took place right here, where the first generator was located. We sadly lost, but we managed to retrieve a little bit of water to bring back to the hidden village. Afterwards, I have come up with a little bit of random generation. I did fulfill a side mission in this first battle, and that gave me an information. And that information was where the other generators are in this area, or if there even are other generators. Because remember, the leader of a squad, is an experienced soldier, so it makes sense that he knows a little bit of his stuff. So what I did was I took a D8, assigned a sky direction to each result, and then rolled it, and I got the result for southeast. And then I also rolled a d6 to determine how many spaces I would need to get to the next generator. And now essentially every single of these tiles, whenever I cross over to one tile, it means that I spend 1 day. It takes 1 day to explore one tile. This is going to be important, but I'm not going to put this in here now. So as you can see, my battle map is a desert from Stormbringer. So what I did was I asked my friends to write me 10 things about a desert that come to their mind. And then I made 3 tables. One with good, one with neutral, and one with bad outcomes. And whenever I enter a new tile, I roll a dice, a d3, to see from which table I roll, and then I roll a d100, or whatever you call this dice here. And yeah, then I go to the location. And then I also made up little rules for each of these things. So this is from the concept of a so-called emulator that is used for generating solo RPG campaigns, which are much larger, but this here is enough for my purposes. Just a silly little thing to make things a little bit more random and a little bit more fun. And I think this is how I'm going to do solo campaigns in the future, because I don't know, it adds a little bit of something, and it takes... I can't control everything. I think this is important for solo games, but in the end, just like with a real game, you just need to have fun. So as I told you earlier, Blood has special abilities in this game, and as a Blood driver, actually I think I call the faction the Blood driven, because then I think it's more obvious that they use blood to function. So yeah, Blood in this game has special abilities, and in order to use them, you need blood points. And earlier, I decided to use dice to represent these. A fully mutated person gets 3 blood points. Everyone that does not actually wouldn't get any blood points, except for balance purposes, but in this campaign, he is fully mutated, and he gave each of his villagers who aren't mutated a little bit of his blood, so they start with at least 1 blood point. It's still heavily work in progress. But the thing is, I also wanted to have ammunition that is represented here. So he has a pistol with 6 ammunition, so here I put another dice in here, and then as usual I need something to represent hit points, and he has 11, so he actually needs 2 dice. And you see it piles up, and now imagine that with 10 figures. I don't have so many dice. So you could just write it down, but my idea to solve this problem, even though it takes up a little bit of space, because here on these here I also wrote the entire rules for each party member, while here I only have the names of the characters, and the actual rules are printed out here. And essentially what I'm doing is I take the character, I know the hiker, this is he, and I just place the dice here instead of on the table. So he has 11 HP, so he gets 11. by these 2d6. He starts with 3 blood points. He gets a dice here. Yes, I also thought it would be funny to implement 2 ways to defend yourself by either dodging or blocking an attack. So dodging is better than blocking, but you can't do it all the time, so he gets 1 avoid marker. And then for the ammunition of his gun, yeah, he has 6 shot, so there we go. Not necessarily lessens the amount of dice that you need, but it certainly helps to keep the board less chaotic and more pleasing to the eye. So the reason I even have things like ammunition is because I thought it would be cool to have shooting rules that allow you to shoot how often you want. But you need to reload, obviously, which will cost blood points or ammunition if you have that as an item in your inventory. But the catch is you have to decide. Do you want to fire... Oh, shit. You want to fire all 6 shots at once? Then you have a higher probability of hitting the target. But the more you shoot in one go, the less likely your odds of hitting are. So, for example, if I would shoot 4 times during this combat, I would hit on a 4, but everything above that would make it a hit on a 5. So that is my reasoning for ammunition. I could probably cut ammunition out and make it so that you can always decide if you want to shoot like 3 times or 5 times, but if you pick 5 times then you have a different weapon profile, but I wanted to try it like this. And yeah, with dodging it is also a similar thing. If you are open here, then it is easier for you to block, but if you're in cover, you have an easier time dodging. Also, if you're in close combat and you try to block something, the enemy has abilities to break through your armor, like in Warhammer and in one-page rules, with rending and armor piercing. But if you decide to dodge, there is no armor that can be pierced, so you can simply dodge. But our hiker here is heavy and mechanical, so he's better with blocking, while this archer lady here is not so good with blocking, but way better than dodging, and that's why she has more opportunities to dodge. And yeah, because dodging is better than blocking, I figured you have to spend a point to be able to dodge. Because, I mean, you could do something like fatigue too, as in you can't always dodge these rounds. Actually, this would be something interesting. You can dodge 1 time, and every unit has like an initiative stat, and this indicates how often a unit can dodge, and once you're past a certain limit, then you can only dodge on a 6. That's actually interesting. I think this would balance some things out. It would reduce the amount of dice that I need to trick shit. It might make avoidance a bit overpowered still. I mean, good blocking, as I said, avoidance completely negates any kinds of armor piercing, so I wonder how to balance that out. But that's the interesting thing. You see, I played a game, and now I talk to you about it, and suddenly I get ideas. And that is why I like this concept so much.